The person who turns a one-word reply into a diagnosis is not paranoid. They are accurate. They have been accurate before. The shortened text, the pause, the cooler tone, each has been the first domino in a collapse they saw coming. So they pay attention. They read the silence. They build a case from a comma. And they are right enough that the instinct becomes permanent. What they miss is the cost of a mind that cannot let a small thing remain small. They manufacture 100 problems to catch the one that is real. And while they wait to learn which one it is, they live inside all 100. Every unreturned text becomes a funeral. Every flat tone becomes a verdict. They are not wrong about the pattern. They are wrong about the price. You are thinking this is just being careful. That thought is the engine. It feels like vigilance, but it is a tax. The price is that you never experience the surprise of good news. You have already imagined the worst, rehearsed it, grieved it. When the worst does not arrive, you do not get relief. You get confirmation that your watchfulness worked. And you reset, waiting for the next one-word reply, the next silence that needs solving. The peace you are protecting is the peace you never get to have. You thought of someone else just now. That is the protection working. This pattern does not begin in adulthood. It begins in a childhood where small signals carried large consequences. A parent whose mood turned on phrasing. A household where the temperature of a room changed before anyone spoke. The child learns that the overt message is never the full message. The real information lives in timing, in what is withheld, in the space between sentences. They become fluent in a language no one teaches directly. By the time they are old enough to name what they do, they have been doing it for 15 years. It is not a skill they acquired. It is a survival system that outlived its environment. The evolutionary mechanism underneath is simple enough. Predicting threat carries lower costs than missing threat. The ancestor who heard rustling and assumed predator survived more often than the one who assumed wind. But the modern human is not in the grass. They are in a text thread. The rustling is a read receipt. The predator is a partner who has not replied in 40 minutes. The system does not know the difference. It only knows that prediction once saved lives, and so prediction remains the default setting. The cost of false positives, anxiety, exhaustion, isolation, does not register against the ancestral cost of false negatives. The body keeps the score in a currency that no longer circulates. You are still thinking of someone else. That is fine. The mechanism protects itself by applying outward first. It will find its way home eventually. It always does. In practice, this looks like the email written at midnight and deleted at 12:07. 3 drafts, each more careful than the last, each one reading the imagined response before the recipient has seen the subject line. It looks like the conversation rehearsed in the shower, the mirror, the car. The argument constructed so thoroughly that the actual argument, when it comes, feels like a disappointment. It looks like the decision made 3 times without execution. The job application submitted and withdrawn. The boundary stated and then apologized for. The question asked and then buried under so much qualification that the other person no longer knows what was wanted. At work, this becomes the person who keys themselves on every email to have proof of tone. Who reads a project brief 5 times for what is not being said? Who builds contingency plans for contingencies and calls it thoroughness? Their performance reviews say they are detail-oriented. What they are is exhausted. The detail is not the work. The detail is the defense against the work going wrong in a way no one predicted. In relationships, this becomes the partner who knows your schedule better than you do, not because they care about your day, but because deviations from it are data. The friend who remembers the one time you said fine and meant it, who now cannot hear fine without a full analysis. The family member who prepares the eulogy before the diagnosis. Each believes they are being attentive. What they are being is unavailable for anything that is actually happening. They are living in the next room, the next hour, the next catastrophe. The present moment is only material for prediction. The intelligent person's version of this is the most deceptive. They have read about hypervigilance. They know the terms. They use the vocabulary of psychology to describe their pattern with precision that would satisfy a clinician. And they use that precision to stay exactly where they are. They say they are processing. They say they need more information. They say they are being thoughtful. What they are doing is the same thing anyone else would do. They are not moving. The intelligence is in the service of the stillness. The vocabulary has become another form of reading between the lines. Now, they read between their own lines, finding sophisticated reasons to continue the pattern they can name, but not interrupt. Their success comes from seeing around corners, from anticipating what others miss. They do not recognize that the same mechanism making them effective at work is making them absent at home. They bring the same reading to a quarterly report and to a child's drawing. Both are analyzed for what is not being said. The child learns that their father or mother is never quite there. The high achiever learns nothing. They are too busy being accurate. The person who has been to therapy and now speaks the language fluently is perhaps the most trapped. They can narrate their pattern in real time. They see it happening. They say, "I am doing the thing right now," while doing the thing. Awareness has become performance. They believe that naming the mechanism is the same as interrupting it. It is not. Naming is what the mind does to tolerate continuing. It is the pattern's most sophisticated defense. I do not have this pattern. I have only watched it. What I find remarkable is how little knowing that changes anything for the person who does. The cost accumulates in places no one checks. The identity cost is the slowest and the deepest. The person who reads between the lines comes to believe they are someone who sees clearly while others are naive. This belief becomes central to who they are. Without it, they are just anxious. With it, they are perceptive. They will protect the belief more fiercely than they will protect any actual relationship. They will lose people rather than lose the story of themselves as the one who knew. The relationship cost is harder to see because it does not happen in one event. It is the thousand small withdrawals. The partner who stops sharing because every share becomes analysis. The friend who simplifies their communication to avoid the interrogation. The colleague who goes around rather than through. Each departure is explained as the other person's limitation. The pattern never gets the blame. The pattern is too busy predicting the blame. There is usually a moment, often late, when they understand what the pattern took. It is not a dramatic revelation. It is a quiet Tuesday, when they realize they have never been surprised by good news. That the promotion, the reconciliation, the clear test result, each arrived already processed, already grieved in advance, already folded into the narrative of survival. They did not get to have the joy. They only got to have the not worst. And they reset, waiting. Awareness rarely dissolves this pattern. What usually happens is subtler. The person recognizes themselves in the description. They feel seen, perhaps uncomfortably so. They share it with someone else, applying it outward again. They bookmark it. They return to it in 6 months and recognize themselves again, as if for the first time. The recognition becomes part of the pattern. Another thing to analyze, another signal to read. They are not closer to change. They are closer to a more sophisticated way of staying the same. The rare exception looks like this. A moment when the cost becomes present and immediate enough that the pattern cannot metabolize it. A relationship ends not in prediction, but in sudden fact. A health scare arrives without preamble. The mechanism fails, and in that failure, there is a brief window where something else might be tried. The window is narrow. Most people rebuild the mechanism stronger, with better predictions, more comprehensive reading. A few do not. The ones who do not have usually lost something they cannot reconstruct. The loss becomes the ground for something else. Not better, just less defended. From outside the mechanism, what is most striking is not how often it fails people. It is how reliably it protects them from finding out. You are still here. That means something. Not necessarily that you will change. Probably that you are reading this for what it says about someone you know, or what it confirms about yourself, or what you will do with this information. The reading continues. The silence still needs solving. The next one-word reply is already arriving, and you are already preparing for what it might mean, and what it might not, and how you will know the difference. You will not know the difference. That is the point. The vigilance and the event are not separate. The watchfulness is the weather now, not the forecast. You do not get the peace you are protecting. You get the protection. They are not the same thing. You have known this longer than you have admitted. The question is whether knowing it again changes anything. or whether this, too, becomes something you read and file and wait to apply to the next silence that needs solving. The silence does not need solving. It never did. But you are already building the case.